Have you ever found yourself in a conversation where the other person seemed aggressive, trying to overpower you with sharp words and a confrontational tone? What began as a simple issue turns complicated as every word you say is twisted, countered, as if their only goal is to push you to the edge. In these moments, it's easy to get swept up in a whirlwind of emotions, responding with heated words and ultimately becoming someone you never wanted to be. But what if there's a different approach, one that's wiser, calmer? Stoicism offers us tools not only to stay grounded, but also to steer the conversation in a way that makes the other person reflect on the irrationality of their behavior. Today, we're exploring 6 powerful communication techniques that help you maintain your dignity while subtly prompting the aggressor to feel a twinge of regret for their hostility. As you watch this video, think back to those tense moments you've experienced, times when you felt cornered, overwhelmed, or close to losing control. When you learn to apply these Stoic principles, you'll discover that even in the toughest situations, it's possible to remain calm and gently guide the conversation. Try these techniques in your own interactions and feel the strength of Stoic wisdom in action. Let's dive in. Number 1. Recognize hidden assumptions. In our daily lives, we often encounter people who provoke us, not always through direct confrontation, but sometimes through loaded questions brimming with subtle implications. These questions can feel like traps, pushing us to agree with hidden assumptions embedded within them. Imagine a salesperson asking, "Would you like leather or fabric upholstery?" without confirming if you even want to buy the car in the first place. This tactic is known as assuming the sale, a subtle form of communication that presumes the listener's agreement with a perspective or opinion that they haven't necessarily confirmed. When we unconsciously respond, we risk falling into a trap, binding ourselves to an opinion that isn't truly ours, and gradually losing our sense of self-direction. For a Stoic, recognizing and breaking these implicit assumptions is not only a way to avoid meaningless arguments, but also a means of preserving clarity and composure, steering clear of negative emotions. Stoicism teaches us that controlling our reactions is key to maintaining inner peace, even in challenging situations. As Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." It's our response that defines our self-mastery and the tranquility of our soul. When someone poses a question with hidden intentions, the first step is to identify the underlying assumption. Imagine you're in a meeting and a colleague unexpectedly asks, "Do you want to go with the approach everyone else opposes, or should we try another direction?" The question appears to offer a choice, but actually suggests an assumption that you prefer an unpopular route. Without careful thought, you might answer reflexively, falling into a trap by indirectly admitting to a choice that lacks support. At such a moment, a Stoic would pause and discern what remains unsaid, making it clear they do not agree with the assumption. Instead of getting drawn in, you could calmly reply, "I wasn't aware that this approach was widely opposed. Has anyone expressed contrary opinions that I may have missed?" This response simultaneously challenges the assumption and keeps the conversation moving in a more neutral direction. When faced with a question carrying a hidden agenda, rather than answering directly, a Stoic would respond with poise, sidestepping needless conflict. Imagine meeting an old friend who asks, "Are you still holding on to those quirky ideas?" This question carries an implicit assumption that your views are odd and that you're clinging to them despite opposition. Resist the urge to defend yourself. Instead, respond calmly. It sounds like you view these ideas as unusual. I'd love to hear why. Here, you neither deny your beliefs nor accept their assumption, but invite a genuine, non-confrontational exchange. This approach helps you retain composure and shows you won't easily adopt ideas others try to impose. One of the great benefits of spotting hidden assumptions is the ability to maintain your stance without unnecessary confrontation. A Stoic understands that conflict only leads to unease and resentment. When someone tries to pull us into an argument, we have the freedom to avoid responding as they expect, dodging the conflict and preserving inner peace. Think of a family argument where a relative might say, "So, you really think you know better than everyone here?" This question implies arrogance on your part, potentially stirring up discord if you answer hastily. In this case, a Stoic would respond with calm. "I don't claim to know more than anyone, but I'd love to hear everyone's perspective." This answer neither denies your stance nor validates the hidden assumption, showing respect for others' opinions and diffusing tension. Ultimately, by choosing to identify and break through implicit assumptions, we practice a core lesson of Stoicism, living honestly and staying connected to our true selves. When we respond calmly, we not only demonstrate to others that we're not easily swayed, but we also affirm our own integrity, remaining true to ourselves in the face of external pressures. In every conversation, when others try to impose their thoughts on you through subtle assumptions, remember that you have the right to hold your ground and voice your thoughts without engaging in arguments. This is the Stoic approach to life. Protect your tranquility, stand firm in your beliefs, and always speak with honesty. Recognizing these hidden assumptions is not a defensive maneuver, but a way to keep your spirit unshaken, refusing to let outside presumptions obscure your perception of truth. By holding this mindset, you not only safeguard your peace, but also invite your counterpart to reconsider their questions, leading to more meaningful conversations. Number 2. Escape the trap of distorted words. Once you've identified the hidden assumptions in someone's words, you've taken the first step toward remaining calm, avoiding subtle psychological traps. However, sometimes simply recognizing these assumptions isn't enough. Some people will directly distort what you've said to provoke a new confrontation. This is when we need to face the "so you're saying" trap with composure. This tactic involves twisting your words, oversimplifying or exaggerating your message in a way that's easiest to counter. A Stoic, however, won't quickly jump into a defensive stance. Instead, they will reject the distorted interpretation and gently emphasize their true stance. The philosopher Epictetus, a prominent figure in Stoic philosophy, once said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This reminds us of our inner strength, that the significance lies not in what others say, but in how we respond to their words. When confronted with the "so you're saying" trap, a Stoic won't lose control or become defensive. Rather, they focus on managing their own response, clarifying their stance, and firmly reiterating their genuine intentions. First, be aware of the trap and remain calm as you recognize it. If someone begins with, "So you're saying that," it often signals they're attempting to reframe your words. For example, If you say, "I think that, in some cases, hard work alone isn't enough to succeed," they may twist it to, "So you're saying hard work is pointless." This simplification doesn't just distort your viewpoint. It also pushes you into a defensive stance, forcing you to explain something you never implied. In this situation, ask yourself, why is this person distorting my words? Are they testing my confidence in my viewpoint, or is it simply a misunderstanding? Sometimes, understanding why the other person is using this tactic helps us stay calm and avoid feeling offended. After recognizing the trap, the next crucial step is to avoid slipping into a defensive stance. Stoicism teaches us to separate emotions from external events. When your words are distorted, instead of reacting with anger or defensiveness, a Stoic calmly rejects the trap and reasserts their intended meaning. Imagine you're in a meeting where you suggest that the company should invest more in sustainable projects. Someone counters, "So you're saying we should cut all other projects and invest everything here?" This is a "so you're saying" trap in action. Instead of reacting to their framing, respond calmly. "No, I'm suggesting we increase investment in sustainability without abandoning other projects. I mean that the company can allocate resources more strategically to maximize impact." By clarifying your original perspective, you not only maintain control of the dialogue, but also highlight the irrationality in their interpretation. Instead of merely reacting to others' words, using questions can also reverse the situation, allowing you to steer the conversation without being swayed by the other person's emotions. When you ask questions, you're not only showing logical thinking, but also cultivating calm and steadiness, which can lead the other person to realize their interpretation is flawed. Another powerful question you could use is, "That's not what I meant. Could you explain why you understood it that way?" This question not only clears up any misunderstandings, but also shows respect for the other person's perspective, prompting them to confront the inaccuracy in their assumption. Inner resilience is a core Stoic quality. In tense situations, remember that you always control how you react. There's no need to be defensive or lose your calm just because someone else is provoking you. You can maintain a calm, confident, and resolute demeanor when clarifying your intentions. Instead of responding with irritation, a Stoic focuses on the real meaning of their words, replying gently so that others see their clarity and poise. This is how we master the "so you're saying" trap with true fortitude. A Stoic will often reflect on the true purpose of a conversation. If the goal is to build a constructive relationship or contribute positively to the discussion, is it worthwhile to argue or defend against a misinterpretation? Once you focus on the larger purpose, it becomes easier to rise above emotional entanglement. In similar situations, consider asking yourself, what is my purpose in this dialogue? Is it worth a strong reaction? Epictetus famously noted, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. If someone can make you angry, it's because your own mind has willingly engaged in their provocation." Therefore, when facing the "so you're saying" trap, remember these Stoic principles. Recognize the trap, respond with clarity, hold firm to your position, and, above all, maintain inner stability. Through these values, you not only protect yourself, but also encourage the other person to reflect on their own irrationality, perhaps even prompting them to reconsider and feel regret. Number 3. Handle the storm of questions. After learning to navigate distorted words and hidden implications that might mislead us, we face a new challenge: complex questions loaded with overlapping or opposing opinions designed to pressure us into losing control. This is where the smash technique comes into play, a subtle tactic in which someone combines unrelated or contradictory points into a single question. This often leaves us confused, vulnerable, and sometimes even leads us to implicitly agree to things that don't align with our beliefs. However, a Stoic, accustomed to remaining steady in any situation, won't be easily swayed by such loaded questions. The smash technique is often used when someone wants to apply psychological pressure, forcing others to respond from a position of weakness. They ask questions that blend unrelated elements with the aim of distraction and confusion, making it easy for the respondent to lose control of the conversation and be pulled into a spiral of questions they didn't choose to answer. To avoid this, we need a calm mind, inner resolve, and the ability to break down each part of the question without being emotionally swayed. When faced with a smash question, it's not about how complex the question is, but how we choose to respond. A person who truly knows themselves and holds firmly to their values won't allow others to control their thoughts easily. Instead, they will separate each point in the question, clarify what they agree with, and reject any assumptions they don't wish to imply. Imagine you're in a meeting and someone asks, "Do you really think the company should overhaul the entire product plan just to satisfy a minor customer demand?" This is a classic example of the smash technique. Here, the question combines 2 points: changing the product plan, a major shift, and addressing a customer request, presented as minor. If you answer impulsively, you might end up implicitly agreeing that the customer's request is minor, or that you support a sweeping change just for a few demands. The Stoic approach would be to slow down and not let emotions take over. The Stoic would break down the question into 2 parts. First, the idea of changing the product plan, and second, the value of the customer's request. Instead of reacting hastily, you could respond, "I think we need to carefully evaluate any decision to change the product plan. As for the customer's request, I believe each one holds its own value, and it's our responsibility to consider how best to serve their overall needs." This way, you avoid accepting their framing of the customer request as minor and keep your stance clear. One effective Stoic technique for avoiding the smash question trap is to ask yourself, "Is this true for me?" Before answering, take a moment to check if you truly agree with each part of the question. This helps you avoid being swept up in the other person's narrative and stay focused on what you genuinely believe. If someone asks you, "Do you really think it's reasonable to ignore all risks just to save costs?" you might quickly recognize this as a smash question. Instead of answering immediately, ask yourself, "Do I agree with ignoring all risks? And is cost the only factor worth considering?" With a calm mindset, you can reply, "I think managing risks is necessary and shouldn't be overlooked." We also need to consider financial efficiency without necessarily prioritizing one factor over another. This response respects your own stance while avoiding the trap set by the other person. In today's world, where conversations often carry a competitive edge, the smash technique can appear anywhere, from work to personal life. Yet, with inner resilience and the ability to dissect questions piece by piece, you can steer the conversation, hold firm to your perspective, and turn your calm into your strength. Stoicism not only teaches us to maintain inner peace, but also shows us that in any situation, as long as we control our thoughts and responses, we'll never be the ones to lose. Before we continue, thank you for sticking with us this far. We've reached the halfway point on our journey to uncover Stoic approaches for handling aggression. By now, I hope you've gained some valuable tools to help you stay calm and clear-headed in tense situations. In the next section, we'll dive into the fourth method, a vital technique in Stoic philosophy, respecting the truth and refraining from distorting others' perspectives. This principle not only builds your own confidence, but also shows respect for yourself and the other person, fostering sincere and constructive dialogue. Number 4. Respect the truth and avoid creating a straw man. When facing someone with an aggressive or confrontational attitude, it's easy to fall into the trap of distorting their argument to make it easier to counter. However, a Stoic would never accept this straw man approach, creating a simplified, inaccurate version of the other person's view just to win the argument. This Stoic principle stems from a deep understanding of integrity. A Stoic doesn't need to undermine another's dignity to feel comfort or claim victory. Instead, they strive to maintain honesty and uphold the integrity of the conversation. When someone becomes hostile, it's tempting to respond by attacking their words or twisting their meaning, especially if we feel threatened or insulted. But for a Stoic, the preferred response is to remain calm and seek to understand the other person's true perspective. Often, this involves asking them to clarify their point to ensure that no important aspect is overlooked. This approach not only maintains composure, but also demonstrates respect for the truth. A Stoic understands that to respond fairly and accurately, they must genuinely grasp what the other person is trying to convey. Imagine you're in a tense meeting and a colleague says, "I think your project is too complex and will waste resources." It would be easy to snap back. "Are you saying I can't manage things properly?" But a Stoic would respond differently. They might ask, "Do you mean I should simplify the project to reduce risks?" This question shows you're respectfully listening while helping clarify their real concern, avoiding any distortion of their viewpoint. In debates, when attacked, many people counter by twisting the other person's words. This makes it easier to launch strong arguments and feel as though they've won. However, Stoicism teaches that such victories are hollow and do not reflect the true essence of the discussion. Instead, Stoics view maintaining honesty and dialogue as a mark of high moral character. Rather than lowering others to achieve victory, they seek victory over their own impulses, the impulse to distort the truth for self-satisfaction. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This quote is a reminder of how a Stoic preserves their character and dignity. If someone distorts your words to attack you, there's no need to retaliate in kind. Instead, remain calm and address what they truly said, showing that you are above their behavior. Consider another scenario. A close friend unexpectedly criticizes how you make decisions at work. You feel hurt, and the urge to retort by twisting their words arises. "So, you think I'm irresponsible?" But if you follow Stoic principles, you might ask for clarification. "Are you saying there are areas I could handle differently to manage better?" This question not only diffuses tension, but also opens the door to an honest and constructive conversation. Listening carefully often reveals valuable insights from others' perspectives, insights you might miss if solely focused on countering. Stoics believe that living a peaceful life requires never deceiving oneself or others. This applies to communication as well, refraining from turning others' words into an easily defeated version just to gain an advantage. This isn't merely about respecting others, it's a commitment to oneself, to integrity in every word and action. When we distort others' views, whether in simple conversation or heated debate, we deceive ourselves about the conversation's authenticity. And in Stoicism, living in truth with oneself is paramount. By staying calm and genuinely respecting the other person's actual perspective, you become the true victor, not because you defeated them, but because you overcame the impulse to twist and misrepresent the truth. As Marcus Aurelius put it, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. By honoring truth and the dignity of others, you embody the essence of Stoicism. This is how Stoics face aggression, not through confrontation, but through calm, respect, and integrity. These virtues define their character, and this, ultimately, is the highest form of victory. Number 5. Use visual imagery to convey a deep message. In Stoicism, the power of words lies not only in their persuasive force or sharp reasoning, but also in their ability to convey empathy, kindness, and subtlety. One of the most refined tools for achieving this is the use of vivid imagery to clarify complex concepts. This approach not only serves as an effective communication technique, but also demonstrates a compassionate desire to convey messages simply yet profoundly, allowing the other person to understand and connect without feeling overwhelmed by abstract knowledge. Imagine a situation where someone confronts you with aggressive or challenging words, making the atmosphere tense and uncomfortable. Instead of rushing to respond, try stepping into the role of a Stoic and reply with a simple yet evocative metaphor that both diffuses tension and invites reflection. When we use imagery in our expression, our words not only resonate more deeply, but also help the listener visualize, empathize, and introspect. This approach guides the other person to a meaningful understanding without being overshadowed by complex theory. For instance, if someone angrily criticizes something beyond their control, you might borrow the image of a flowing river to convey the Stoic principle of acceptance. Your anger is like trying to block a river. It only builds more force the more you resist. But if you allow it to flow, you'll see that the water will naturally find its own path. This statement not only reflects the Stoic idea of accepting what we cannot change, but also provides a simple image that helps the person view their anger from a new perspective. In Stoicism, helping others understand the truth should never feel like an act of dominance. Instead, it should be an expression of kindness. When we use concrete imagery, we're not diminishing the intelligence of the listener. We're offering them a simple path toward insight. This approach shifts them away from a defensive stance and encourages reflection and self-awareness. Imagine a Stoic sage like Seneca, who knew that not everyone could instantly grasp profound principles. He often used simple language to open doors to deeper wisdom. You might wonder, why not respond directly? Why not counter immediately? A Stoic would explain that direct reactions often stem from ego, from a desire to assert superiority. But when you use imagery, you shift from a stance of resistance to one of engagement. Using imagery can also gently reveal the irrationality of someone's actions without confrontation. For example, if someone interprets your words with a negative slant, you could subtly remind them with the image of a mirror. Words are like a mirror. They reflect what you bring into them. If you see anger, it might be a sign of what you're holding inside. This simple yet powerful metaphor can help the other person see the unreasonableness of their perception without feeling criticized, leading to natural self-reflection. In a chaotic world, using imagery to communicate messages helps maintain simplicity and clarity. When facing aggression, remember that your words don't have to be weapons, but can serve as bridges. With a calm smile, you can convey ideas through imagery, creating space for the listener to reflect and engage. The image of a sail gently catching the wind is not just a metaphor for calmness, but an invitation for others to share in that state. Through imagery, you're not forcing them to change, but guiding them to a deeper self-awareness. When standing before someone consumed by anger, remember that a simple yet powerful image can help them calm down and see the issue more clearly. Ask yourself, instead of argumentative words, could you offer an image that encourages introspection? Imagery is not only a means of communication, but also a way to practice kindness and understanding. Ultimately, communication isn't about winning or losing, but about the quality of the message and the impact it has on the listener. Through concrete imagery, you deliver Stoic wisdom in a way that is both simple and powerful, enabling the other person to embark on their own inner journey. Number 6. Reveal that they have already agreed with you. After using vivid imagery to convey messages subtly, we now reach the final approach, a graceful and profoundly Stoic technique. This method allows you to gently guide the other person to realize that, from the beginning, they may have already shared your perspective without even knowing it. Instead of engaging in a tense argument or trying to change their thinking, you simply point out that through their actions and words, they're expressing the same values. This approach not only diffuses potential conflict, but also fosters genuine connection, creating meaningful and constructive dialogue. Stoics understand that actions often reveal more than words. When someone criticizes, questions, or challenges you, their behavior usually reflects a belief or value that both of you share. Epictetus famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." For the Stoic philosopher, listening goes beyond understanding words. It's about discerning the motivations behind them. By showing that the other person is actually acting on a principle they value, the Stoic creates a natural dialogue, not through persuasion, but by illuminating the common ground. For example, imagine you're debating with a colleague about meeting project deadlines. The colleague complains that the current process is too strict, but also emphasizes the importance of completing tasks on time. Instead of responding with sharp counterpoints, you could point out that, by seeking flexibility, they're also showing a commitment to quality and discipline, values you both prioritize. This shifts the conversation from tension to unity, as both realize the shared understanding that may have been present all along. Stoics know that the best way to guide others to see common ground is through gentle questions. Suppose you're talking to a friend with conservative views who is resistant to a new idea you've proposed. Rather than arguing to prove them wrong, you might ask, "Do you think that not agreeing with this idea is your way of preserving values we both respect?" This question not only reflects their belief, but invites them to see the common ground between you. Stoicism teaches us to keep conversations light, comfortable, and constructive. When you show the other person that their actions align with your values, you transform the exchange from attack and counterattack into an exploration of truth. For instance, if you're discussing finances with a family member who values saving but argues that other things are more important, you might point out that their choice to spend carefully aligns with a perspective you both respect. Instead of escalating the discussion, you steer it toward shared values, enhancing mutual connection and understanding. Rather than insisting on your viewpoint, you might say, "Really, you're just looking out for the future, just as I am." This approach not only shows that both of you share a similar outlook on preparing for the future, but also brings a calm and positive tone to the conversation. Stoic philosophy encourages us to seek calm, not to avoid problems, but to illuminate a shared truth the other person may not have realized. Think about a work scenario where a colleague criticizes your strict process approach. Instead of defending or explaining, you could ask, "So, do you also agree that maintaining quality is our top priority?" This gentle yet impactful question helps them recognize that you share a mutual concern for quality, transforming the conversation from opposition to collaboration. Stoics don't aim to win conversations. Their goal isn't to dominate, but to allow others to discover truth. When you help someone see that, in some way, they already agree with you, you're not just persuading them, you're guiding them toward a new understanding they may not have seen before. By helping others realize they've been aligned with you from the start, you open the door to a new, shared truth that both parties can embrace without causing hurt or anger. This is the art of high-level communication that Stoics pursue, not using words to coerce, but using truth to enlighten. When facing a hostile person, remember that sometimes the truth is already there, you just need to help them see it. Stoic philosophy is built on empathy and patience. Apply it to lead the conversation toward harmony and understanding instead of creating unnecessary resistance. Life will always place us in challenging situations, often facing people who may seek to dominate or even confront us. But with these 6 methods, you hold in your hands not only sharp communication techniques, but a way of life rooted in the calm resilience of Stoicism. This is a journey of learning to control your own reactions, transforming challenges into opportunities for growth. Every word you speak, every action you take becomes an expression of inner strength, a strength that doesn't need to shout to be seen, but radiates quietly from a place of peace and understanding. Which method resonated with you the most? Or perhaps you've faced a situation where these approaches could have been helpful. Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. If what you've learned today has brought you a sense of peace or sparked new inspiration, hit the like button to spread this positive energy. And don't forget to subscribe. By doing so, you're signaling this content has value. And who knows, someone you care about might need to hear these words too. So share this video with them. It could be the unexpected gift of encouragement they need. Thank you, and see you on the next inspiring journey.